Hey guys, welcome back to Storytime with Kayla Jade. I am here with Amanda Goff, Australia's most famous ex-escort, also known as Samantha X. Well, welcome to the podcast. My client booked the most. Get ready with. Oh my god, you guys! Let's do a pack my. How do you find the industry has changed?
So much.
Yeah, I was gonna say from when you first started to now, it must be.
It's saturated now.
Yeah,
It's saturated now.
Well, I hear even from my friends who have been in the industry like 10 years, they say it's just even in the last 10 years, it's changed so much.
Changed so much.
And now it's a lot of it is online and people are, staying at home more. I know strippers are struggling a little bit with clients coming in.
Really?
Yeah. Because a lot of people choose to stay at home now.
Yeah, why would they go out and risk being seen? And I still think there's a market for that. And I hate saying high class, but
Oh, there definitely is. There's a lot of people that make a lot of money.
is it consistent though? I sort of felt it was never consistent.
Yeah.
It was you make a lot of money and then it can be dead for a bit, and then you can make a lot of money, then it'd be dead for a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I never saved my money. Saved a cent.
Really?
Well, because I thought it was the gift that kept giving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't buy clothes I did buy clothes, but I didn't buy handbags. I didn't buy that kind of stuff. I just had a nice life, supported my family.
Exactly.
When I had to support, so.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For the first good year, of being in the industry, I just wasted so much money, on trips, and you just think oh, it's gonna last forever.
Exactly. You pay for your own flights, you pay for your hotels, you pay for travel.
You're your own boss, so you have to pay for everything. So yeah, I definitely wasted a lot of money. It took me a good while to be hang on, I need to get my shit sorted. I don't want to constantly. I didn't want to be in the sex industry forever, so I was I need to try and save as much as I can before I feel my time is done.
Yeah, and I remember once a boss of an establishment said to me once, see this job as a business and save your money. Pay yourself a wage and save your money. Of course, I never listened to him. I had one boob job, two boob job, three boob, five, six.
You have to figure it out yourself. It's like me. I had 2 BBLs and I had to figure it out. But you get there eventually.
Did you have those done in Australia?
So I had one in Turkey, and that was a botched job. Nearly died on the operating table. But the second one was a corrective in Australia, and it was amazing. Yeah, I had such a good experience with that. So. Because you had just recently got a reduction, hey?
Yeah, my boobs were massive.
So how big were your boobs?
Wow. Whoa.
Okay. I mean, we can do hey.
That was an accident, by the way. They were 1,050 cc.
1,050.
So that is massive. I'm just going to do my button up now.
That's double.
So what are
I
yours?
Feel I'm just a D cup. I don't know.
Mine
D.
were F or
yours were F?
A, B, C, D, E, F. Yeah. So I was 1,050. They're 765 now. So that's a third. They're a third smaller. I'm not very good at maths, but I think they're a third smaller now because my lifestyle changed. I was doing Pilates.
Yeah.
And I just felt really self-conscious, and women were judgy. It's always the women that were judgy.
Yeah. It's a really sad thing. That's what I sort of found out when, people were outing me for having kids and stuff. A lot of the time it was women talking about it, and it made me really sad because it's I love women supporting women, and I talk about it a lot on my page. So to see that, I was just oh,
it's really
sad.
painful.
But obviously there's a lot of supportive women in my comments as well.
I think people think when you become a mother you don't become sexual anymore, and
Yeah.
that part of you should die off.
Should die.
And the ironic thing is most workers are single mothers.
They are single mothers.
There are a lot of single mothers out there.
Yeah.
And I had a real problem before I went public because I thought, I've got young kids. It's going to be really challenging. And my psychologist said, Amanda, what you do for work doesn't define you as a parent.
Yeah.
So doctors can beat up their kids. Lawyers
Exactly.
can abuse their
They
children.
can still be
Sex
bad
workers
people.
can be good mums.
Yeah.
But society doesn't see it that way.
No.
Does
It's a sad thing.
I think people like you, though, do change the narrative a bit. I tried to 12 years ago. Still very controversial, but
It's all about timing.
It's all about timing.
Yeah.
Then I look at women like you and I think, oh, God, You're awesome. And if I'd gone public now, it would have been a completely different story.
Yeah. I mean, but you're still out there, you know,
But I'm still out
advocating
there.
and like just you're so iconic in the industry. Like everyone loves you. So you guys, I got something really exciting to show you. So I just got sent this fat stack of Honey Birdette, which is my favorite brand. So let's do a try on haul. I remember when I was younger and I had no money and all I wanted to do was buy Honey Birdette. So it actually doesn't feel real that I'm doing a collab with them. My God, I cannot wait to try this on. This is Eleanor. I just love how this fits so perfectly. Sometimes when you get the corsets, they have the little like bumps that go out, but this one just cinches in. And then we're gonna try it on with the Love Lace full length robe. Loving the full black, like a little bit of goth. Could you imagine me dressing up like this to a booking? That'd have a field day. Little bit of the back. Let's try the red. Did one of those like color theory tests, and apparently one of my colors is like a warm red. I never wear red though, so I feel like I'm gonna stop. I usually go like light blues, like I love a baby blue. I feel like blue just makes blue eyes pop even more. I go wrong with red. I feel like it just looks good on everyone. The way this pretty red set is the Rosaline. I just had to show you guys these before I put them on, but these tights have like little bits of glitter in them. I like to try to put the suspenders on the stockings before I put them on, otherwise these nails are just gonna rip holes through them. I have like such a heavy hand, so I'm known to break things easily. This is delicate and I'm not delicate. Oh, we got them on. When I first started buying Honeybee, I was like, how the hell do you get these things on? And now I'm just like an absolute pro. This is Faye. I feel like this one's my favorite. And I matched her with... What is your name, darling? Love Lace in Ivory. I remember the first ever Honey Birdette set I got. I was so proud of it. It was like this beautiful blue set that had like a corset at the front and like little bows on the side, and then the underwear had like a little bow at the back. I'll try and link it. I remember just like cherishing it at the time because I didn't often get like nice things. I love Honey Birdette. Like the quality is just unmatched. It always feels so luxurious in these sets. I think this is my favorite. What do you think? I just love how pretty it is. This is Haley. They're heavy duty for a reason. I wonder if these are just for show or if I could actually peg someone with it. Only one way to find out. You can find all these sets at honeybirdette.com. Bye guys.
I always said to the girls, because I used to have an escort agency, and I always said, don't say you're younger, say you're older. If you're going to lie about your age, say you're older than you are.
I think I was actually reading, I think it was something from you saying that like older S workers get so much money, like get more money if so than the younger ones. So it's like, you know, say that you're older because the guys love it.
Well, you know, I always say, guys, you know, there's a market for everything and anything. You would know that.
Yeah.
But I think women over 35 think I'm too old to do this job. You know, I'm over the hill, 40, 45, invisible to men, to society. It's absolute rubbish. And I really understood that when I became an S worker. So, and then when I became a madam of my agency, then I realized that men just wanted older women. I think men that I attracted wanted older women.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, when I started working, I was 38. I left at 48 and I got more expensive as I got older. And I thought, I'm just going to test the market and say $1,500 an hour. And this was quite a few years ago. And I thought I was busier then in my late 40s than I was in my late 30s.
And it's amazing because like a lot of the comments I get on like TikTok and stuff are being like, what are you going to do when you're older? Like no one's going to want you when you're older.
Do people say that to you?
Yeah, they do. They say it in the comments all the time. And I'm like, hey, as long as people are still paying, like I'm going to do it.
And they will. And you'll get the demographic might change.
Yeah.
And I found I employed a woman who was 65.
65.
And we called her Granny Angel.
Granny May.
Because my agency was Samantha X Angels, so we called her Granny Angel, and I couldn't believe how busy she was.
That's incredible.
And she used to get all the young hot clients, and she, I think she was $800 an hour. She wasn't $800
because they just love the maturity.
They love the maturity.
Well, I feel like it just depends on the guy. Like, there's obviously going to be those guys that want the like your younger girl to like almost control and like feel like they can control in the way, or either they want to like relinquish that power. So like, yeah, it's very interesting.
And they want to be seen with a woman who, if they go for dinner, or they want to be seen with a woman that doesn't
like
look
matching,
like their young daughter.
Yeah,
which is quite a shock because I thought they just want to shag young hot things, and look, they do. There's definitely a market for that. And you're a young hot thing in my eyes. But yeah, sometimes I think, if I went back to work now, I could work until I was 75.
Yeah, wow.
But
So when did you actually quit?
It's about 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And what made you quit?
Well, in my third book, Misfit.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Third book.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I feel like your book Hooked was just like everyone in the industry talks about it. Like that is just like, you were just like an icon. Like they just like, oh my God, Samantha X.
Oh,
like, oh my God.
Well, I sort of think, I really hope women didn't read my book and think I'm going to become worker. And that was something I was worried about, glamorizing the industry, because you know as well as I do, it's not all 5-star hotels. And
not at all.
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 probably a few years ago, and it kind of made sense to me. And I stopped drinking, I stopped everything, and I became super healthy. And I became mentally healthy, and not to say I wasn't unhealthy, but I didn't need to create this persona anymore. I just wanted to be myself, and I'd never really been myself. I was sick of being called Samantha. That wasn't my name. I was sick of – a sex worker told me once, you know when it's time to leave, and I thought I'm just tired. I was tired shaving my legs every 5 minutes. You know, I was tired or having to be sexy. I was tired of it all. So
2 years ago, did you say?
About 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I recently got diagnosed ADHD, and like just growing up throughout my life, I was just like, you know, constantly had these symptoms, but had no idea that it was a problem. I just thought it was me. Yeah. And then, you know, being diagnosed, it was just like this weight lifted off me, being like, oh my God, like it's actually something. Like I'm not just like lazy or like.
What were your symptoms for ADHD?
So I struggled a lot in school. I struggled a lot with like focus and you know, even things like just keeping my space tidy. And in my head, I like struggle to like even, you know, finish sentences sometimes. I'll be like constantly thinking about like 1,000 things and like nothing is sort of making sense. So like when I become medicated, it was just sort of like putting those pieces of a puzzle together.
Yeah. I felt that. Yeah. When I was diagnosed, I thought it makes sense, you know.
Did you find even stepping away from the industry like that was just so much better for your mental health? Because I know when I like see a lot of clients, I feel like my mental health declines, and it's like it slowly declines because, you know, you put yourself out there so much for people. Yeah. So for me especially, it's very draining.
100% draining. Yeah. And I disassociated. And when you disassociate, it's really hard then to connect again. So I found relationships, I still do, find relationships really hard because I spent so many years as Samantha disconnecting. How can I then be Amanda and intimate with someone? I said in one book that it's like being James Bond. Like you have to make up your mind very quickly whether they're going to kill you or not, number one.
Yes.
And then this is all in like 10, 15 seconds. And then you have to work out what kind of client he's going to be, whether he's going to be hard work, whether he wants this, that, the other. He's going to be a talker. They always are. Yes. You know, what his story is going to be. And then... So when you meet someone in the real world, how can you not go into that mode? Yeah. How can I not go into that mode?
Yeah, it's a very hard thing.
And it intimidates men.
It does, especially when, you know, you have a lot more money and, you know, you're very successful. Like it's intimidating. Yeah, that's what I loved about escorting is like you can sort of be more private about it. You know, it's like with the online industry, you sort of have to like make a name for yourself and like push yourself out there as much as possible. Yeah, I guess with escorting it's sort of a bit more like you don't have to like advertise yourself on social media as much.
No, and I've already decided if I ever go back, I'm going to keep it very, very private and very exclusive.
Yeah. I feel like you would have like a bit of a cult following now where you can like, you know, just sort of like see if you were to go back. If
I was, like, which of course I'm not.
There's an if. But you could have that sort of like exclusivity.
Yeah. And I think it's a hard industry to leave. And that's why I say to young girls, think very carefully about this because once you're in it, it's extremely hard to leave because where else can you make the money that you're making and the freedom and the flexibility? And then you go and take an office job and you're getting $40 an hour, $30 an hour.
I'm not yet at the point where I'm like, because I know a lot of girls say like they know when it's time to leave. Yeah. You know, they'll say like, I just can't do it anymore. Yeah. I'm not yet at that point. So like.
How long have you been doing it for?
Only a year, like a good like year and a half with like escorting itself. Like I had dabbled a bit like early days, but like full escorting. But before that, I did like online work for about 3 years.
Yeah. I interviewed Nova Hawthorne.
Yes,
She's
Nova.
lovely.
She's awesome.
And she told me something quite interesting, that most women make less than the average wage on OnlyFans, which I think is really important for young women to know.
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of women come and they want to be like Bonnie Blue or you or, you know, and it takes a lot of hard work and you've got to have something different about you.
That's why it's so important. Like I always talk on my page about like why I wouldn't recommend being a sex worker and like
100% agree.
You know, I've like, because a lot of people would like compare themselves to me or like others compare themselves to me, but it's like I've done the online work. I've done like the America porn star trip. Like I've done all that sort of stuff. So you can't really compare in that way, you know?
Yeah, and some girls, I remember when I was working, I'd mentor women and they think they can come on the scene as an unknown and charge $1,500 an hour.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not, you know, that doesn't happen. Or they want to do that without showing their faces. And
yeah. It's the same with OnlyFans, you know, people will like go on thinking that they can just sell feet pics and it's just like, it's not as easy as that.
No.
Like,
no. Yeah. And also I sort of find that with men especially, they think every man thinks they can be a male escort.
Yes.
Do your clients sometimes think they can be male escorts?
The amount of messages that I get being like asking for advice or like from men, and I'm like,
do you respond to them?
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not cut out. I'm sorry, it's not cut out for everyone. It's like the same with the porn industry. A lot of men just think they can whip their dick out in front of a camera, or like it is so complicated. So yeah, like it's why there's only like very few male escorts and very few male stars, because
very
it's
few
just
good male escorts.
Yeah, just because it's not cut out for everyone.
Exactly.
You know,
every man thinks he can do it though, and I say to them, it's not shagging. It's not getting paid to shag, mate. It's
I think like probably half of my clientele was like, yeah, like I could do it. I could do it.
That's so funny.
I'm like, babe.
And I've got to mention Peggy Sue.
Yes.
So when I went public, I got one of my clients who I actually fell in love with, and we had
Oh my
it was
gosh.
the ultimate no.
Okay, I need to hear more about that.
So I got him on Channel 7. So when I went public, I went on Channel 7's show. It was it's called Sunday Night.
Okay.
It was like the 60 Minutes Channel 7. So that's where I launched my career. And I got him to go on. Like you can manipulate some clients to do whatever you want.
You can. Absolutely.
So he went on Channel 7.
Like face out?
No,
I was going to say like...
Changed his voice, did exactly what you did.
Did what we did.
And was interviewed about being, you know, Samantha X client.
Yeah.
And then we were in a relationship and then I had to get a restraining order against him.
Wow.
My second book was about him. I called him Mr. Big. You've got Peggy Sue. I have Mr. Big.
Oh my gosh.
So
Mr. Big.
when I saw the Peggy
love
Sue
that.
thing, I thought, oh, that's so exactly what I did with Bleep Bleep.
Wow. So things got a bit heated between you guys, because I always say that, like, you know, if a client drops like the L-bomb, it's like you got to get rid of them, because like as soon as they start getting
do they do that
addicted, like then it's just like, no, you've got to drop it.
Well, it's yes, you do, but then you think I'm talking myself out of regular.
That's true. But then it just
bread
starts
and butter
getting,
money.
It starts getting dangerous though.
Yeah.
You know, the stalker behavior, like, you know,
Stalker behavior. We went on holiday together to Italy. It was very romantic. I thought I was going to marry him.
Oh my gosh.
And then it just,
Okay, so how did it end? Because like I was sort of seeing a client for a bit. We're still like a little bit on and off. So like tell me how it ends. Like give me some wisdom.
Okay, so he was seeing other women.
Yeah.
Because obviously if they see...
Checks out, you know.
If they see escorts, if they see you, they'll see others.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the men get addicted to it.
They do, yeah.
Just as women get addicted to the job,
Mm-hmm.
they get addicted to it too. And I could never trust him. He was always lying about stuff. And I was not in a great space. And so I tried to end it many, many times, but he was the type to call me 50 times. I reported him to the police. He wouldn't leave me alone. He would he lived in Melbourne. I was in Sydney. He would turn up at my cafe in Sydney. Yeah, it was just a nightmare. Anyway, I got a restraining order in the end.
Yeah.
That was quite a few years ago.
Far out.
But yeah, so don't worry. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure he don't have to get a restraining order. But mine was a bit psycho. So are you seeing your client? At what stage has it become a boyfriend and what stage is it a client?
No, it's like we haven't talked for ages. He's just messaged me again, like, because I sort of like I got a bit on a crush on him, and then like we hadn't talked for a while, and so I got over it. But now he's been like messaging me again. I'm like,
what, to see him as a client?
Yeah. So we went out for a date like I want to say a month ago that was paid. So, because I was seeing him for a bit unpaid. Silly girl.
Hence the boundary blur. You know,
Yeah.
and I did the same thing. And I
Well,
think
I mean,
most girls
yeah.
make that mistake once,
Yeah.
don't they?
I feel like you learn.
You learn.
But yeah, he's been recently messaging me and I'm like, oh, I feel like if I open that barrier up again, I'll start to get those feelings where I've worked so hard to like
disassociate,
cut it out a bit. But yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. I think once you develop feelings, it's hard to see them as client.
Yeah.
I used to feel guilty taking money off them.
Really?
Well,
I don't feel
the one,
guilty.
the one I had the feelings for, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's understandable. So how did you find like what helped you ground you and like, you know,
stepping away from the industry?
Yeah.
For me, stepping away from the toxicity of sometimes. It was very toxic at the time, especially on Twitter. Girls were really going for each other. Stepping away from clients and stepping away from being disassociative. So having therapy and just trying to have a normal life,
Yeah.
you know, letting the hair extensions go. Well, I didn't do that for very long.
You're like, okay, bring them back.
Yeah, trying to have a normal life,
Yeah.
but it's incredibly hard to do that when you're used to something else.
Mm-hmm. And when you've built so much of a name for yourself, it's hard to sort of, you know, go back to a normal life
you
after
lose your
that.
identity. I lost my identity. I didn't know who I was. And when the psychiatrist diagnosed me with bipolar, he said, finally, once we get you medicated, you will finally know who Amanda is.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, I don't really know who Amanda is. I've been Samantha for so long.
Yeah.
You know,
Living this double life.
living this double life, which I loved, but it's not sustainable forever. And everything changes and you evolve. I evolved as a person.
Yeah.
And the person I was in my 30s is not the person I am today.
Wow. I'm just like soaking this all in. Like, oh my God. Like, listen to her advice.
Make the most of it.
Yeah.
Because you know.
I feel like you need like such a good support network around you when like, because when shit hits the fan for me, like I'm just so glad that I have those, you know, family and friends that support me no matter what.
You're
like,
very lucky.
Like if I didn't have that, I would just, you know.
It'd be hard. Always have an exit plan, I always tell girls.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to last. The job lasts forever if you want it to, but your state of mind won't last forever.
Exactly. Your mental health.
Your mental health won't last forever. And it's not work that causes the damage. It's, you know, lawyers kill themselves, police officers kill themselves. You've got to look after your mental health in any job. But it is not a job for the faint-hearted. It's not, you know, so many women ask me, even today, can I just have lunch with clients? Can I just be a dinner companion?
It doesn't work, like that.
You know, like, of course that would be the ideal job.
It's a job that's not for everyone. You need to have a bit of grit about you. You need to be able to stand your ground and, you know, just have that, because guys can easily try and manipulate that, and they sense that sort of fear in a way, you know. So I feel like you need to sort of have that, like being able to stand up for yourself, things like that, to look after yourself.
And it's on the job learning. Like when I was mentoring women, I couldn't teach them that. You know, you can't teach gut instinct. You can't teach the James Bond thing.
No. It just comes with, I guess, practice and learning. And I was so glad that I had that experience in the sex industry before I became an escort, because like if I went straight to escorting, I would have no idea what to do. I needed that experience before I got into that. Like I always say to girls, like, make this be your last resort. Like try everything. Try the career, the job, anything.
Do you really say that?
Yeah.
I say
100%.
that. I used to say, get a job first, get a career. If you want to have kids, go and have kids.
Yeah.
If you want to get married, go and have babies, because once you're in this job, you will never get out of it. And also, I didn't used to mentor women under 25. I just really didn't. I would say to them, I just think you're too young.
Yeah.
You know?
I felt like I lived like a whole life before. And as well, like, because you started at 38, hey? So
I mean, even then I was young, you know, like I felt like I was quite naive.
Yeah. That's such a, like, I think that would be an inspiration to so many women, because a lot of the time people think like, you know,
easy money.
I'm too old, or, you know, I'm this. So like, yeah, that's amazing.
I know. I never lied about my age ever, because I thought I saw other girls lie. So I thought, and I didn't have a mentor or anything like that. I didn't know anyone in the industry. I just looked at what everyone else was doing and I thought, I'm going to do something completely opposite.
That's amazing.
So I'm going to brand myself as a businesswoman.
Yeah.
And, you know, if they're all wearing lingerie, I'm going to wear suits. You know, and I just thought I'm going to be different, and I'm not going to lie about mine because I knew girls were lying about their age.
They
taking
still
15
do. They still do.
years off.
Yeah.
If anything, I say you're 10 years older, because
Yeah,
it's a point of
wow.
difference.
I love
Because I was
that.
looking actually at Scarlet Blue the other day,
Yeah.
just having a nose.
Little geese.
And I noticed there aren't that many older women on there.
No, there's not.
So the 50 plus bracket, I reckon, is untapped.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And
Untapped.
I'm sort of at the like stage where I'm like, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how long I'm going to do escorting. You know, sometimes I'll like have a meltdown and be like, what am I doing? And then other times I'm like, I love this. So it's like,
that's the
I'm
job.
sort of in that limbo where I'm just like, I don't really know at the moment. But
you don't
you
have
just
to
got
know.
to run with
You
it
don't
sometimes.
have to know.
Yeah.
But can I just say, from your grandmother, your
Yes,
grandmother,
Mummy.
that's the job. That's the nature of
Yeah.
the beast. Even when I was in my 40s, I was like, what am I doing? I should get a normal job. This is so bad. I can't do this forever. And then I'd go, I love this. This is amazing. And then it just continued. It will never stop. That feeling will never stop. The older you get, you think, I should settle down. I don't want to be I don't want to be the washed up hooker. And then, but
I remember thinking that like in my early 20s, so I was doing like not even in the work industry, but thinking like, just like stressing so much about my future. And it's like, just try and like live in the moment a little bit more, take the risks, take the opportunities.
Yeah.
If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be in the position I am today, and you wouldn't be in the position you are. So,
and I look back on my career and I don't regret a single thing.
I love that.
I'm sorry that it's affected those I love very much, and I've made my amends for that. And not everyone is as open-minded as we are. I understand that. But I would do it all again. Honestly, these days, my pajamas from Big W, a cup of tea, a hot water bottle, my dog, peace and quiet, no man sticking his in my back, like wanting to I just want to go to sleep and wake up in peace.
Too. I don't really have unless I'm getting paid for it.
And nor should you go.
Hopefully, maybe that'll change. But right now, it's just like, it's just too hard, Absolutely. Oh, it was lovely having you on the podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting
And
me.
I guess where can everyone find you?
Instagram, Amanda Goff Official, and my Substack, which is Amanda Goff 2. I think it's 2. Amanda _ you'll find it. My book, Misfit.
I feel like people even just Google you.
You just
like,
Google me, yeah.
It will come up. You got some stories.
Just Google me. And my third book, The Unraveling of Samantha X, Misfit, is out in all good bookstores.
Yay.
It's been a pleasure. I've been really excited to meet you because I think you're amazing. Keep doing what
honey.
you're doing.
You too. I'm so excited to see what happens like in the future for both of us. So, yay. Bye, guys.